everybody, this is Missy and today's video is going to be a lot of fun. I'll be taking on the What's the Journey 2021 challenge. For those of you who may not know what this challenge is, it was started by the one and only Crasher Plays and Reacts, and allow me to do a little bit of explaining about it. For this challenge, you're imagining yourself in the amazing world of the Pokémon anime. Crasher has a series of questions that will help you shape your own adventure, which you answer in your video. These questions include things like your Pokémon team, which region you're from, and other character building questions like that. If it would interest you, feel free to give the challenge a try. At the end of this video, I will be tagging 5 other creators to go ahead and give it a try, but even if you haven't been challenged, feel free to give it a go. I'll have the link to Crasher's explaining video down below in the description. Make sure you check it out. My plan for this video is to give a bit of a brief answer for those questions I mentioned. This section maybe is for those of you who don't want to sit through a whole backstory, because after the more rapid fire questions and answers, I will be sharing Missy's backstory with you in a deeper, more storytelling way. If you don't want any spoilers, so to say, about this backstory, here's a timestamp you can skip to for that backstory. Now, before we dive right in, it was a little difficult to get things like timing correctly, like with the age of characters, because we don't actually know the canon age of some of these characters, so I'm just making a bunch of educated guesses. So ignore any errors I make during this video or anything like that. My journey starts before Ash's time, and I age throughout my adventure, unlike some trainers. Looking at you, Ash, Ketchum. So that just made it a little difficult. So, like I said, just ignore any age errors or timing errors or anything like that. Now, allow me to answer those questions I was telling you about. The first thing you want to do is to decide your Pokemon team. You're supposed to give details of each of your selections and briefly explain why you chose these Pokemon. Now, there are a few rules for this part. We don't want any OP trainers, and these rules include 1 starter max, 1 pseudo-legendary Pokemon on team, no legendary or mythical Pokemon, and you're allowed to have up to 3 additional Pokemon to rotate with. So following these rules, I crafted my team. The Pokemon I chose for my journey are some of my personal favorites, and they provide a pretty nice type coverage. I'm also noticing now that most of them seem to be doggos, so I guess I really like dog Pokemon. Not a dog, but the starter I chose to take with me on my journey is Rowlet, and by the end, it'll evolve into a Decidueye. Just FYI, all the Pokemon I talk about evolve at the end, yeah. Rowlet is actually the first Pokemon I personally have ever had. The first Pokemon game I played was Pokemon Sun, and I chose Rowlet as my starter. I love its roundness and its little bow tie, and its evolutions are beyond amazing. Decidueye is so epic, like the Robin Hood of Pokemon, and Ash's Rowlet in the Pokemon anime was actually one of my favorites, like character in general, like even with the humans. The next Pokemon I have on my team is Zorua/Zoroark. I'm really bad at saying their names, I'm sorry. Zorua and its evolution has always had an impact on me in my love of Pokemon. I loved it in the anime, which I started watching long before I played the games. And when I did get Pokemon Sun, it was a member of my team. This Pokemon definitely has a nostalgic impact on me, and it's so awesome. The next Pokemon on my team would be Rockruff/midday form Lycanroc. I love Ash's Rockruff/Lycanroc, and Rockruff is just so cute. I love this Pokemon and its evolution. It's just, dog Pokemon are some of my favorites, as I mentioned earlier, and its evolution is really satisfying. I feel like Rockruff could be a standalone Pokemon, and so could Lycanroc, which is what you want with a Pokemon. And while Dusk form is definitely epic, and the Midnight form too, that's kind of Ash's thing, and I think I actually like the Midday form more. The next Pokemon that would be on my team is Alolan Vulpix/Ninetales. I love Vulpix and its evolution, both Kanto forms and Alolan forms, but the ice type of the Alolan form better fits my team, and I went with it. I love the lore behind these Pokemon and its portrayal in the anime. Another Pokemon on my team would be Yamper/Bolthound. Yamper is tied for first place as my favorite Pokemon with Eevee, which we'll talk about soon. As soon as I got my hands on Pokemon Sword, I added it to my team, and when I learned about its evolution, Bolthound, I was absolutely beyond pleased. I love dogs so much, and Yamper and its evolution is just perfect. It's just so perfect, and I love it. Now, the final Pokemon on my main 6 would be Eevee/Sylveon. Like I said, Eevee is tied with Yamper for being my favorite Pokemon. I have always loved it. It represents something that's rather personal to me, being that, yes, this Pokemon may have many awesome evolutions that it could evolve into, but it's perfect just the way it is. I would happily add an unevolved Eevee to my team and be beyond content with it. But out of all of Eevee's evolutions, Sylveon is my favorite, and I think that my Eevee and I would have a great friendship bond, and it would evolve into a Sylveon because of it. Now, let's talk about those 3 rotational Pokemon I would have. These Pokemon would include Dragapult, Arcanine, and Dubwool, and their pre-evolutions. All of these I will be capturing during my adventures in the Galar region, which I'll be talking about more in the backstory and in some other questions. These are some of my favorite Pokemon that just didn't quite make it onto my main 6, but I still love them. The next question is, which region would you hail from? Missy the Pokemon trainer is from Po Town in the Alola region, but I end up traveling and semi-living in the Galar region. I chose Alola because, as I've mentioned, Sun was my very first Pokemon game, which took place in the Alola region, and I love just how culturally different it is from the rest of the regions. And then Galar is one of my personal favorites, so I definitely want to travel there during my adventures. The next question I'm answering is, what would your profession be in the Pokemon world? I would go from being a Team School Grunt, to being a trainer/research assistant, to being a Pokemon artist/trainer. I will explain more about this Team School Grunt thing in the backstory section of this video and the research assistant part, but I will take some time to explain the artist. I love drawing. Absolutely love it. I draw characters from my favorite TV shows, I draw animals, I draw my own characters, I draw book characters, and yeah, I draw Pokemon and Fakemon. I draw a variety of things, and I love it so much. I love everything about it, from the experiment to getting to see the new perspective on things, even to the sound of the pencil on the paper. And I feel that if I lived in the world of Pokemon, I would be drawing them all the time. I'd be trying to capture their emotion and their day-to-day life. So, yeah, I'd be a Pokemon artist. The next question is, what would your goals be? My goals would consist of, firstly, completing the Alola Island trials, which would help me train to complete my more main goal, which is to defeat Guzma and take over Team Skull. But my more current goal is to defeat Leon in the World Coronation Series, meaning that, me being Missy the trainer would truly be strong enough to defeat and take down Guzma. Who would your companions and rival be in your travels? Well, companion-wise, I don't know if Missy would actually like any companions, beside from her Pokemon, that is. I mean, Missy as a character has never really liked people much, and much prefers Pokemon to them any day of the week. But sometimes, like with Kukui, we'll get to it later, there are special cases. So maybe one or even 2 human companions wouldn't be so bad. So if I was choosing a character from the game/anime, maybe she would run into and end up traveling with a younger Pierce. That timing and age works out well, and I think Missy would be fascinated with his demeanor, which I imagine is kind of similar to hers. She'd want to be friends with him, much to his displeasure. And rival-wise, definitely Leon and Guzma, but a more low-key rivalship is still very important to the story, and this rival would probably be Bia. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. I think she wouldn't be quite as intense as a Gary type rival, but she wouldn't be one of the nicest rivals either. Or maybe she would be. I don't know. Well, that wraps up the more rapid fire question section of this video. Now it's time for the backstory. Everybody buckle up because I'm pulling out the fancy narrator voice. If you don't want the backstory and you just want the outro already, impatient, here's a timestamp you can skip to. I have the tags, that kind of stuff in it. So, yeah, let's dive right into the backstory. Oh, I'm gonna set the mood with some fancy music. Let me get this. Somewhere located in the Alola region is a young girl who goes by the name of Missy. But she's probably not the precious child you're imagining. You see, Missy is actually a member of Team Skull. Sort of. Her parents are both members, and they are raising her in Po Town. She's being raised to know the official ways of Team Skull, preparing to become an official grunt when she reaches the age of 10. But Missy isn't the biggest fan of the chaotic and loud, crazy ways of the team. She prefers things to be quiet, calm, and peaceful. Instead of causing chaos around the Ula Ula Island, she spends her free time reading, playing with the local Pokemon, and somewhere along the line, she started drawing. She draws and draws practically every day. Now, childhood goes by quickly, things right after the other, and now suddenly this young Missy is age 10, ready to be a Team Skull grunt. She is given a Zorua by her parents to be her battle partner in case things ever go south. They instantly form a bond, as Zorua seems to like the peace and quiet too, similar to Missy. She nicknames her new friend Trix. She's also given the Team Skull chain necklace, which she is to brandish proudly at all times. Her parents have high hopes for her, and immediately she is sent out on missions. But instead of doing as she is told, going out on said missions with her pal Zorua to try to collect Z crystals for Guzma, she finds herself traveling to the nearby woods of the Ula Ula Island. She spends her time befriending the local Pokemon and drawing them in their natural environment. She sometimes even ventures into town, but learns the hard way that the local townspeople aren't super welcome to Team Skull members. Because these Team Skull members, of course, have a reputation of causing trouble. So Missy only travels to town when need be. She much prefers to befriend Pokemon to humans anyway. Plus, they are fun to draw. One day, during her journey to the woods, she meets Quiver, a feisty young male Rowlet. You see, it's quite a funny story. She accidentally startles it, saying, "Hello," maybe a little too loudly, and he sends a sling of sharp-pointed feathers flying her way. Of course, he feels badly, and noticing her sketchbook and the pencil tucked behind her ear, he poses to be drawn as an apology. As Missy journeys out of Po Town more and more, Rowlet often finds her and poses to be drawn again. They become friends over time, and eventually, Missy officially captures him, nicknaming him Quiver. He is her first ever captured Pokémon. A slight rivalship between Quiver and Trix grows as time goes on, but they will always remain the best of friends. Eventually, Missy's parents are concerned with her dedication to Team Skull. She never has anything to present to Guzma. They never see her training. They start keeping more tabs on her, sending other grunts with her on her missions. She soon finds less and less time to draw. She starts being more active as a Team Skull member, and even starts to make a name for herself around the Ula Ula Island and in Po Town itself. Like I said earlier, childhood goes by quickly, never seeming to slow down, and suddenly, just like that, a few years have passed. Missy isn't the only one who's grown, as Quiver has evolved from a Rowlet to a Dartrix, and Missy's Pokemon team is growing too. She's added a Rockruff to her team, after a heartwarming experience. She caught this Rockruff during one of her Team Skull missions. It was living out in the streets and looked very hungry, like it hadn't eaten in days, possibly. But it was utterly terrified of everyone and everything. She slowly approached it with food, a malasada that she had gotten for herself, and the Rockruff eventually felt brave enough to come eat it after she placed it on the ground. With that, a bond was formed, and Missy caught Rockruff, nicknaming it Malasada, after the food that had brought them together. So, Missy, along with her team of 3, has embraced her chaotic side. She still longs for the calmness of the woods, but she's found a new love for causing trouble, though she does hate the way it sometimes makes others feel. One day, when the weather was dreary and Missy had had a long day, she came home to find that her parents had stolen a baby Vulpix from the Mali City Pokémon Center, and that was it. She knew when enough was enough, and this Vulpix surely belonged to someone, and they probably missed it dearly. So that night, she takes Vulpix and a few belongings. She's done with this Team Skull business. She leaves a letter for her parents and runs away, planning on never returning to Po Town. She makes her way to Mali City, befriending the Vulpix and training Trix and Quiver and Malasada along the way. As she travels, by foot I might add, she grows quite attached to the Vulpix, but she knows she must return it. She can't even begin to imagine the sadness she would feel if any of her Pokemon were stolen away from her. After she travels, she finally arrives at the Pokemon Center. She explains to Nurse Joy what has happened. Missy explains that she knew the grunts who had stolen the Pokemon and wanted to return it. Nurse Joy is skeptical at first, as Missy still brandishes the Team Skull necklace. But after even more explaining, Nurse Joy admits to herself that she feels she could trust Missy. She explains that Vulpix had been left at the Pokemon Center in a basket, with a note that had said, "Please take care of little Crystal. I can't be the trainer she needs." Nurse Joy had no idea who left it or what to do with it, except she could do her best to take care of it. But now, she can sense the bond that is formed between Missy and the Vulpix. She smiles and says, "I think if I took Vulpix back, it would never have a sense of adventure. It would be stuck here, helping me run the Pokemon Center. It seems that it quite likes you. So how about it, Missy? Would you mind capturing this Vulpix and showing it the true experience it needs to grow up?" Missy happily agrees, giving her word that she will protect this Vulpix with her life. She pulls out a Pokeball, and the next thing you know, Missy now has a new addition to her team, Crystal, the baby Vulpix. Now, Missy isn't quite sure what to do. She's carried out her mission, and she is definitely not returning back to Team Skull. Nurse Joy tells her about the island trials, and that she should talk to Professor Kukui to get more details. So that's what Missy does. She travels to Mele Mele Island, wanting to learn more about these island trials and the world of Pokemon, just in general. As she travels, she starts drawing Pokemon again. She's a little rusty, but she still loves it, even after all this time. She draws nearly every Pokemon she encounters. It helps her see Pokemon in a new way, opening her eyes. After a long journey, she arrives at a Pokemon school. She waits until the school day is over, and works up enough nerve to go inside, trying to find this Kukui fella. In one of the classrooms, she finds him and tells him why she's here. He introduces himself as a new Pokemon professor who wanted to teach trainers about Pokemon and how wonderful they are. After Missy explains her situation, Kukui has decided that Missy can stay with him until she figures out what she wants to do next. So Missy spends some time learning more about the Alola region, the island trials, and everything she can learn about Pokemon from the professor. She helps him with his research, and in exchange, he teaches her and gives her a place to stay. day. After about a month, Kukui invites Missy to come to the Galar region to see the Champion Cup final battle with him. She excitedly accepts the invitation, looking forward to seeing what this Champion Cup is all about. So they travel to Galar, and Missy absolutely loves it. The battle was outstanding, a battle against the new Galar champion Leon in a challenger, with something new Missy had never heard of called Dynamaxing. Leon's Dynamax Charizard was insanely powerful, but the thing Missy loved most was seeing the difference in culture between the Galar and the Alola region. Even though Kukui and Missy only stayed at Wydon for a couple of days, there were so many different people and Pokemon alike to get to know. Both her and Kukui were absolutely fascinated with the local Pokemon, and before it was time to leave, Missy even caught a Yamper after it stole her bandana wanting attention and pets. So that is what she affectionately nicknamed it, Bandana. But sadly, all fun must come to an end at some point, and it was time to leave Galar. They returned to Alola, and, as it always does, time passed. Missy works on her art every day, and even travels around the Alola Islands to give the island trials a go. She defeats all the kahunas with her team and totem Pokemon, collecting Z-crystals and embracing their power. As she takes on this challenge, Trix evolves into Zoroark, Quiver fully evolves into a Decidueye, and Malasada evolves into a midday form Lycanroc. They've embraced the power of the Z-crystals too, learning new powerful moves. It reminds her of her time at Team Skull and her parents. Throughout this whole adventure and her time with Kukui, Missy has always avoided Team Skull grunts around the islands, hiding her face anytime she sees any of them. Who knows how they might react if they saw her now. But not long after returning to Galar, Missy vowed to herself that after she completed the island trials, she would challenge Guzma to a battle. And this is what drove her to finish the trials and defeat all the kahunas, working hard, and soon, she finished. The whole time, Kukui took her under his wing, letting her stay and continuing to teach her about the world of Pokemon. He helps her train her Pokemon, helping her use the power of the Z-crystal she has obtained. And soon it is time for her final self-imposed challenge. Missy is ready to take on Guzma. She sets out to Po-Town, returning for the first time in a few years. She's changed, and she's an entirely different person than she was when she lived here. Missy is now the person she wants to be, not who her parents want her to be, not who Guzma wants her to be. She arrived at her old hometown and doesn't stop. She defeats all the grunts that stand in her way, and she bursts into Guzma's room, challenging him. In fact, she places a little wager on the challenge. If I win, you leave Po-Town. You leave Team Skull. Your good intentions are there. You want to create a place for misfits and those who have been outcasted, many of them failing the island trials. But the things you make them do is horrible. You can't just allow and sometimes encourage these people to call mayhem, upthrowing everything in their way, making people's lives so much harder. They want to please you, and they will, but at what cost? They steal all the time, and they don't know when enough is enough. Even though you helped me find a part of myself that I never would have otherwise known was there, it's not enough to make up for all the trouble this team causes everyone else in the region. So if I win, I'm taking over Team Skull, and I'm making some changes. Missy would change the team, keeping it a place where misfits and those who have nowhere to stay can come and never worry. But it would be a place that Missy had always wished had been there for her. It would be like the woods, calm and never a worry. But Guzma laughs in her face and accepts her challenge, thinking there's no way he can be beaten. He even places a little wager himself. If you lose, you're giving me all your Z-crystals. Missy is hesitant to agree, but she does. She and her Pokemon have been training so much, there's no way she can lose. Or so she thinks. It's an intense battle. They both agree to use 2 Pokemon. Missy chooses Trix and Quiver to fight, 2 of the Pokemon that have been there from the very beginning. Missy easily defeats his Scizor, but his Golisopod wipes the floor with her team. She has lost, and now she has to hand over her Z-crystals. All of her hard work is down the drain. Now, Team Skull will continue their chaos, and she has nothing to show from the hardships and the training she's gone through. But as she heals Trix and Quiver, she realizes that she's wrong. She does have something to show from it all. She has her friends, her family, she might even call them. Trix, Quiver, Malasada, Crystal, and Bandana, who have been there for her, training hard alongside her all throughout her journeys. She hands over her Z-crystals, acknowledging her defeat, but she looks Guzma in the eye and admits that she wasn't ready yet. But she will be back, and she will take him down. And with that, she leaves. She returns to Kukui, telling him what went down, and then she admits to him that maybe she hasn't broken all of her Team Skull habits. She smirks as she shows him that she has kept the grass crystal. Now, similar to how she had felt not too many years ago, Missy wasn't sure what to do next. There was nothing left for her to do in Alola, so after talking about it with the professor, she realizes she's ready to leave. She wants to go back to Galar. She loved it there. Everything was so different. And there's no Team Skull to worry about. She wants to take on the gym challenge, having learned about it while she was in the Galar region. It was so different from the island trials, and she and her team of Pokémon are ready. It is sad when she has to say goodbye to Kukui at the airport. He's been more than a teacher and a mentor to her. He's become family. But before she leaves, Kukui says he has a parting gift for her. He presents an Eevee to her, telling her that he'd found it out in his garden a few weeks ago, and it reminded him of her. It was calm, but it had a sneaky and trickster side. It worked hard, never stopping until it got the job done. And while, yes, it had the outstanding potential to grow into something amazing, it was perfect just the way it was. Nicknamed the Eevee Funko, already loving it. Kukui gave one last wave goodbye, telling Missy to never feel shy, that she's welcome to stop by any time. And with that, Missy was off to Galar. And now, well, she's taking on the gym challenge, just as she wanted to. She and her team are working hard to get to the very end, to defeat Leon. And then she knows. She and her team will have gained the skills and the experiences that are needed to defeat Guzma and take over Team Skull. And after that, maybe she'll become a full-time Pokemon artist, creating detailed illustrations for research books. Or maybe she'll return to Alola to continue helping Kukui with his Pokemon research. But in all honesty, who knows what the future can hold? All Missy knows is that as long as she has her Pokemon, nothing can go wrong. Or can it? Wow, okay, what did you think of that? That was so much fun, and I know I kind of left it on a bit of a cliffhanger, you know, room to grow on it if we need to. Now, you may have noticed that I only mentioned 6 Pokemon throughout this story, even though we're allowed up to a rotating 9. And in the, questions part of this video, I told you about 3 others. Well, these 3 Pokemon aren't added to Missy's rotating team until she starts her journey through the Galar region. She catches a Wooloo, a Dreepy, and a Growlithe, all of which evolve as she travels. And during her Galar travels, Crystal also evolves into a beautiful Ninetales, and Bandana evolves into a powerful Boltund, and Eevee evolves into a breathtaking Sylveon. But that's all I've got. Who knows what shenanigans Missy will get up to in the Galar region as she tries to complete the gym challenge. Maybe I'll make a part 2 sometime or something if you guys really enjoyed this video. I feel like I really didn't get to explore her story as much as I would have, but this video is long enough already, so I know most of you have probably already clicked off and yeah, no hard feelings. But I would love to dive deeper into Missy's story if that's something you guys would like to see. This kind of stuff is right up my alley. I love creating characters, their backstories, their personalities, all of it. So a huge thank you to Shiny Electrode 08 for telling me and then challenging me to this challenge. Make sure you check out his video where he talks about his own adventure. I'll leave a link in the description and up in the iCard. I know I'm a little late to the challenge, but it's better late than sorry. Is that what the saying is? I think so. Crasher made his original challenge video a few months ago, but hopefully I'm not too late. Oh, the 5 tags, right. Well, if I'm being honest, I've actually got 6 people I want to challenge to do this. I know I kind of broke the challenge rules in a way, but I've got 6, I'm sorry. I am challenging Jazzy Mangoes, Tank Runner, Loiside, Yeet Yuffie, Bone Real Mind, and The Dark Master to go ahead and take a try at this challenge. I'm so sorry if I said any of your guys' names wrong. I'm so sorry. Now, just because I challenged you to do the challenge doesn't mean you have to. I don't want anyone to feel, expected to make a video that they really, weren't planning on doing, didn't want to, that kind of stuff. But to anyone who does give it a try, make sure you let me know so I can see how your journey would go. And to anyone who I didn't challenge but still wants to give it a try, go ahead. Feel free to tell me about it so I can come watch it. And with that, it's time to wrap this video up. I'm sure it's a bit of a longer one, so thank you to everyone who's made it to the end. That really means a lot to me. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like on the video and tell me what your Pokemon team would be down below in the comment section. If you want to see more videos like this or Fakemon making, art in general, Pokemon playing, that kind of stuff, feel free to subscribe to the channel. All you have to do is turn that red button down below into a gray one, then boom, you've subscribed. I hope you're all having the best of days, and I'll see you next time. This is Missy Dupop, signing off. Goodbye, my friends. And in exchange, he exchange. But his goal is Galissopod. But his Galissopod. but his glissopod. And in exchange, he teaches. That's such a funny word, exchange.